Welcome to Forever Exile, the Path of Exile podcast. I am Justin, aka Tagz.
I'm Tyler. No big deal.
Record of days, God. You literally have the worst intros. What really bothers me about this next part that I'm about to do is I was just playing our last episode, I think, for my wife when we were driving. And you did it was like a long extended one. And she's like, what is that? Because she doesn't listen to it regularly. I'm like, it's Tyler. He gets like a little slow in the head at the beginning of each episode. And so it always ends up different. Yeah.
I don't think I need an introduction this time around, do I?
All right, so we have to do an extra intro just for fun. We don't have to. We could skip awesome. It is really good. We had for some reason people have this weird affinity with Tyler and his weirdness and his awkwardness, and so someone sent us in a new intro for Tyler. So here's the second version of our intro. Welcome to Forever Exiled, a Path of Exile podcast. I am Justin, aka Tagz.
One man who stands alone, defending consoles like they were damsels in distress. A man whose masculine chuckle resonates through your soul like the hammer of the gods. The one they call Tyler, wrecker of days.
Oh my God. It just makes me ill listening to it, but it's so good. It made me laugh out loud when I was driving in the car. I played it out loud for my wife and she's like, that was amazing. So
thank you, Foog.
Yeah. Well done.
Thank you, Foog.
That's Tyler. Now you know who he is. Wrecker of days.
Every episode.
That's right.
It's happening.
It's built into my system now. Like I literally just, this is all I do. There it is, but it's not coming back. Anyway, quick shout out to our patrons. We had 2 new signups this week, Stare Down and The Andrew. Thank you guys both for joining the crew. Everybody else who's patrons and listening and enjoying hopefully our After Dark, and everybody else just listening as well. Thank you guys for tuning in. So I don't know if I said it yet. We're on episode 36 and I
don't know.
Yeah, that's what it is. 36. I started thinking today, I don't care until we're in triple digits. Like I want to fast forward through 70 episodes, 64.
Easy.
Really.
Lots to talk about.
Yeah. I was started to do the math and I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. So
out of all the notes you push every single week, I have like 70 episodes just waiting for us to go.
And boy, would they be exciting. All right. All right. Tell me about your week. What was this week like for you? You didn't do like any Path of Exile, so there better be good things happening.
It was an insane week. We went to the zoo. My kids haven't been anywhere in forever besides the front lawn. So
zoo's open.
The zoo is open, and it's probably our zoo anyway is one of the safest places you could probably go to do something. The tracks are so wide, not the tracks, but like your paths are so wide. Ours lets you bring your own bikes and food and all that kind of stuff. It did before the COVID stuff.
Yep.
And when I looked over to the cafeteria thing that they have there. It's just like it says open, but it's just like it's empty. It's a ghost town. But
do they limit how many people can go in? They must.
Maybe, but they do everywhere, so I assume they are. But I didn't notice people counting, but I'm sure they did. But I had a couple friends of ours that I hadn't seen in a long time because of the COVID stuff. They came over and we just did like a front yard hangout, about 10 feet away from each other, yelling at each other from across the lawn. But that was nice. Tuesday, I had Red Dead. Wednesday, I had Divinity. My Dark Souls buddy came back for a little temporary stint. So Thursday was Dark Souls. And it's just been busy, man. But an awesome week. But I didn't even get to mow the freaking lawn today. And it's supposed to rain tomorrow and Sunday. So. Well,
it's minor rain tomorrow. You've got time.
Well, yeah, I got to rush it out. But what if I want to sleep in?
30% chance. And
it's
not till the afternoon.
Until 2.
Until the afternoon.
I know. See, listen to us lawn folk. But anyway, it's been sunny and rainy where we are. And so I've been fighting weeds. I brought them up, right? High Five Harvest.
Many times.
Oh, come on. Anyway, so I did like half a job. It took so long to like gut this one section of the garden that it took way more time than I thought. So I had to leave it. And I actually haven't been able to get to it since last weekend. So all of a sudden it's been rain, sun. I'm going to go back and it's all going to be like all for naught, right? It's all just going to have grown back. So anyway, I'm probably going to ditch that section. I'm going to go straight to the lilacs. Some people say lilacs, lilates. How do you say it?
Oh, I don't know. Is that like a tier 2 seed? Are you up to tier 2?
And I have a lot of morning glory just trying to strangle that stuff. So it's go time. I'm taking that stuff like I'm taking my shirt off for those bad boys.
Oh man, your poor
it's
neighbors.
Go time.
That's backyard though, right?
Oh no, we have privacy. We have big fences and our lilac bushes are huge.
You make people sick.
That was a busy week, but it was good. Yep. But this is like my me time.
Yeah, I know.
Since last podcast, I'm sitting down. I'm unbuttoning my pants. I'm relaxing. Yeah. How was your week?
My week was good. Yep, it was good. I rushed after our last episode to edit after dark, get it done for freaking YouTube, everything prepped ready, because that night, actually, we recorded Friday night at 2 or 3 in the morning. I took my computer down and started the whole draining the loop and getting everything ready and clean. So it looks amazing now. It's so good.
Very nice.
Yeah, it's working so much better. Nice. So anyway, my week was, that was the weekend. My week was PoE. That's what people who do Path of Exile podcasts typically do, you know?
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
we like to play Path of Exile. I worked a ton and then just Path of Exile. So it was good. I nothing special. Nice. My lawn, I'm not even gonna get into it because last week was glorious. We had a great chat about my lawn. I'll have updates soon. Don't you worry, YouTube guy.
Next week. Yeah, you buddy.
Don't you worry, buddy. It's coming.
Actually, there was one funny thing this week. My wife had to go away on business for a couple 3-4 weeks, and I've been trying to get her into PoE for a long time. You're making fun of me for not playing PoE, but been trying to get my wife into PoE. We both love video games. We both love our loot-based dungeon crawlers, but for some reason, she's just
she played Diablo.
Yeah. Well, and tons of other stuff too with us. But anyways, for some reason, she's not giving PoE a chance. And now she's been teaching our son how to knit, and she's so stoked because that's one of her favorite pastimes besides gaming is knitting. And so she's been teaching our son how to knit, and he is into it and loving it. But of course, he's learning, so he keeps having to ask her questions. And like I said, she's now going away for almost a month. And so any mistakes that he makes while knitting, well, I can't help him with it. I don't know anything about knitting. So I gave her this awesome proposition before she left that I'll learn about a week before she left, but teach me the basics of what you're teaching our son and I'll learn it. And then if he needs help, I can help him. So I'll learn your thing if you learn my thing. So I'll learn knitting if you give PoE a legitimate shot. So anyway, she left and I don't know how to knit.
I don't see her playing PoE.
Oh man, she'd love it.
On the PC though, because when PC means Sims.
PC means Sims. PC
and nobody wants to play on that other box that you've got upstairs.
I tried. Hey,
nobody likes
glorious.
That box.
I saw people complaining on our Discord about not wanting to go back on the computer after they've been on the computer at work all day. Well, problem solved.
I didn't hear that.
2 words. Console.
Terrible decision. So is there any point in me asking you about your when we played a little, or did we
played Monday?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I
don't want to talk about it.
How did that go for you?
It sucked.
Yeah.
It sucked.
Why?
I enjoyed the fellowship. My goal in our private league, I was 87 and there were a whole bunch of people at 88. So I was going to try and hit 90 and maybe hit the top 5. I hear podiums are top 5, not top 3. So I was pretty stoked to hit top 5. So, we had a long, good session. We could probably had maybe 6 hours that we could hang out that night, which was sweet.
It didn't go well for
87. You. No, I did not get out of 87. So it's just not a hybrid build. It looks awesome on paper. You think you have tons of defense, but I'm right in the thick of things on a regular basis. And it was just a percentage increase focus for, just kind of health for the hybrid aspect. So I only had 150% life, which was really what I was using most of the time, no matter what my ES rolls were on gear, because I was just getting hit too much for them to recharge. So I just didn't have the life. And of course, I'm still on my starting mapping gear. I'm not, I'm playing once a week, maybe twice. So I'm still, 50 life on most of my gear, all my gear. So yeah, it sucked. I didn't get out of 87, but it was fun.
What are you doing with this build then?
Depends on what you do. Right.
Oh, I'll tell you.
Now that now that our private league has ended and now we're into the normal temporary trade league. If you want to respec and keep this character, then I'll keep this character and I'll respec into a pure life-based one. If you're feeling like doing a completely new character, then I'll try a different experiment and save the regrets. So tell me about your PoE week and then tell me what you're doing.
So the league ended on Wednesday?
Yeah.
Wednesday or Thursday. And Archu, he like 2 days before the end of the league started messaging me, taunting me really about how he was catching up. And I didn't realize anybody was that close because the guys who were close to me had bailed out like chickens. And so he messaged me and I was like, oh man, yeah, he's like a level behind me. And no, I think at that time he was 2 levels behind me. I was 93. He was like 90 or 91. And I was like, please, guy, come on. Who are you kidding? And then I start playing. And then the day before the league ends, he messages me and he's like, hey, I got to 93. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. I pulled up the leaderboard and he is like literally right behind me in level or in rank. And I'm like, crap. So the day before the league ends, 2 days before, I don't remember what it was. It was it was the day before league ends. I went hard and I was so like, I have to level. I can't lose. Like I can't get second place.
That's not an option.
I'm not kidding. 2 times I killed myself into second place. I was so mad because I had actually lost so much XP that it bumped me into second place twice. And I was like, I'm going to actually like wreck my computer. I've had it. And so I played
you go crash your one wheel.
I played that whole night and I didn't get that. Like I didn't hit 94 and I got like 3/4 of the way to 94. And I was like, okay, like this has to be good. I have to be fine. And cause he had told me he was going to work. And so he wasn't going to get to play. I was like, oh, that's too bad for you. And, so then in the morning I was working and I checked Discord and he's on there yapping away about how he's online and he's catching up. And I was like, no. So I quickly dumped work and came home and I played and got myself to 94. And he and then I stopped and then he played like right up till the end. At one point, I think he even was like, if we could just have 1 more hour, like extend it 1 more hour. Because he was so close, but he lost in the end. He got crushed. But that last day though, that I got a chance to play, I did everything that I could do. I just wanted to see the Tagz has done first. So I went and did Shaper. I went and did Elder. I went and did Alluring Abyss. I went down to depth 200. Like I literally was just laughing at myself to see nobody was on, but I was like, yes, yes.
All that sweet yellow text with tags
all
on
that
it.
yellow text. That's right. Anyway, the private league was a lot of fun. I actually had a lot of fun with this one. I didn't do a ton of trading, a lot of crafting. It's always enjoyable for me getting back into the trade league. So this week got back into the trade league and I had a lot of goodies to sell. So I had a lot of currency. So I switched my guy to low life. So I think I'm going to play that for a bit. I got him moved over to low life. I've still got some currency to help you out with your, I don't know if you want to call it a build, just whatever that thing is that you're playing.
Build with a little b.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. No, it'll be solid. I'll have almost 190% life once I'm done my energy shield respec, and I'll have a lot more damage. The damage that I missed out to get all that ES. So it'll be good. It'll be good. You're a prick, but it'll be good.
Anyway, I'm all set up for my guy now with the low life. So that's been fun. And I'm still enjoying Harvest. Like, I think some people are starting to understand that it can be fun if you play with the crafting, but there are just some people that are not into it. But there's actually something I'm going to bring up in a minute that I'm really curious about. But did you figure out where did you end up finishing in our
number 9? No. I don't mean to brag, but single digits. That's like the power. That's the power.
Well, no, because you just said top 5 was podium, right?
No, you're editing that out. No, that didn't happen.
It's going to be louder than everything else.
That's right.
Number 9, dang.
Louder than my intro. Yeah, single digits is pretty sweet considering the improvement that is from not making the first page last league.
That's true. It is an improvement over last league.
Yeah. You watch Formula 1?
No. I'm not talking about racing cars.
So it's kind of like how Renault was when they first re-entered a couple seasons ago.
Editing out.
And now they've come back stronger.
Oh, that's cool. I think
PoE Land.
I think that pretty much wraps up our weeks. But this week in PoE Land it was chill for the most part. There was one big patch that just came out, which is 3.11.1b, of course. And I like the changes. I'm just going to quickly note a few of the things that I saw that I thought were cool, because there was a lot. And if you go through it, there's a ton of fixes again, like they do, and there was a conversation in, I don't never remember where these are. Maybe Reddit, maybe YouTube. I can't remember, but somebody said, oh, you talk about how great it is that they do these fixes, but they shouldn't have have to do the fixes right off the, from the get-go. And my response was, well, what would you rather? Like, they're recognizing that something's broken, needs to be fixed, and they're fixing it. What's the alternative to that? That they just don't fix it? Like, you can always have the argument of, oh, well, it should be perfect right off the bat. Fine. If that's your argument, I can't say much to that, but they know there's a problem. They're fixing it. What do you, I just don't understand the argument. And to go along with, I think something I said last week, it's very close to a new game every 3 months. There are going to be issues with it.
Yeah.
It's fine. They fixed bugs. And if I look through these bugs, I'm 94. I've been playing a lot. None of these bugs affected me. So, I mean, I get it. They do affect some people, and it's great that they're fixing it, but just chill out. Like it.
Well, I think the argument is, like you just brought up, that the expectation is that more is done prior to launch. But I do, like you said, I think the thing that a lot of us forget going over and over, but like with league after league after league, is that every other game you play has one launch date.
Yeah.
And if it gets bumped, people are fine with that. Like, goodness me, that's what Rockstar does. They come out with a launch date and then they push it twice so that it's actually 1 year later. But it's, I mean, they're still not polished, but they're definitely a lot better than they would have been, right? I mean,
they're
games
also
have
not
one release date.
They're also not releasing fixes all the time. Well, they're not.
And right. And even if it's like major stuff at the end, so that if you got to the game 2 months later, you'd think it was an amazing release. But this is a game that's re-releasing itself. Stuff that's integrating with all the core content on a regular basis every 3 months. Like, that's...
Yep.
I get disappointed with some of the release stuff, especially as a console player. I remember with Legion, every time I blocked, the game crashed, and I was doing a max block character. Oh man, that was like, it was frustrating. I hated the experience. 3 months later, I remembered the maturity of it though, and
the difference though in that one, which I agree with you, that was a really big deal. That was a fix to a crash. I have seen very, very, very few crash fixes through this league. It's not like they're fixing things that are wrecking the game. They're just fixing things that shouldn't be operating the way that they're operating.
Well,
99% of them. What's that?
I said you don't play PS4.
I will never have the argument from a console person's perspective. So I don't know. Maybe it doesn't work great on console, but you know what? There's a solution to that. Get a PC.
Oh, you're so smart and witty.
Right? You could just buy a PC. They make them for everyone.
No.
Yeah. So, okay.
Well, that's the only reason consoles have been selling, because they didn't know.
Yeah. Hopefully more people find out that they make computers. Okay. So 3.11.1b, there were, I think, maybe two things that I really liked. One, and they actually were really nice for me to play with once they changed. And it all is around harvest. So now they added, when you go into the harvest and you're going to craft, I think it's much better for a new player, but even for me, just deciding if I'm going to horticraft and save it versus if I'm just going to feed it off to become liquid, it's really easy at a glance now because they've added the corresponding type of currency as a mini icon in the bottom corner of it. So all the ones that say Reforge, they have an icon that looks like a chaos, or they have an icon that looks like an alchemy. So that you know, like, this is like using an Alch, or this
right
is like using a chaos. And then like the annul and augment, like it's really good how they show it now. So it's really easy to look, the jeweler's orbs or the whatever chromatics. Yeah. So I really like that part. That That is a really nice change. And then my favorite change, though, is that they added now the modifier tags. I don't know if you've seen this yet, because I don't know if you've played since this patch, but when you hold Alt over an item, you get all of the breakdown of the tiers of your roles, and you know how many prefixes are there. I mean, you do have to count, but it does say prefix, 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 suffix, suffix, suffix. And now beside it, it also shows, is it a fire tag? Is it a defense tag? Is it a life tag? Is that in the core game? Or are you just talking in the harvest crafting? No, that's in the game. On every single item, no matter where you are, if you hold down Alt now on an item, it shows the tag for what type of role that is. Now, I love this. Awesome. I think it's awesome. But it also made me wonder, like, does that mean that there's more of a plan to go core with this type of crafting? Because those tags, while they're nice to see, they don't mean much without the harvest craft. There's nowhere else in the game where you're getting something that's like, hey, you can remove a fire tag and add a fire tag or fire modifier, whatever you want to call it. There's nothing else in the game that benefits from knowing that information. So does that mean that there's plans to kind of make that craft, maybe not necessarily harvest, but do you know what I mean? Like, why go to it's possible that they did this change just for harvest, because it's a huge, huge benefit to be able to see this, because unless you know, it is really hard to know, like, what are they counting as a defense? What are they counting as a whatever tag? So to be able to see that now is really nice, but it also made me wonder, like, if they're making these changes, does that mean that some form of this crafting might stick around?
I expressed last episode that I hope it doesn't. The harvest doesn't go core, especially as is anyway.
Do you think that's a fair assessment as someone who hasn't really given it much time?
I don't know. You have to incorporate a whole bunch of different players, right? You can't only trust the opinion of people that like it. You have to trust the opinion of people that don't like it, and why as well, right? I mean, you're making it for lots of people. Mm-hmm. So same reason.
But there's a lot of people that don't like Delve or don't like Blight or don't like.
True.
And now that being said, they've literally taken every single league lately and made it core. So it's time for them to start phasing some of that stuff out, or turning it into Xana mods only or something, because it is tiring to have so much. But this change just made me quite curious, because they are going the route of adding even more tags, so it will affect like fossils and all this other stuff. But it just made me curious, what benefit do I have seeing that it's a fire modifier without harvest crafts? None.
Oh yeah. No, for sure. I hope I wouldn't be disappointed if the crafting component of this makes it to core. I have zero interest in. You have to completely remove almost everything that you've done regarding seeds and planting.
I got a Crusader orb, Exalt orb, one of the
really?
Hunter. Yep.
Wow.
It was one of the first things I sold.
So the Hunter dropped it?
It was off of the boss. I assume it must have been. I honestly don't remember.
I haven't seen one yet.
I sold it.
What? Why?
I needed to buy my stuff. I needed to get my goodies once I hit Trade League.
What'd you sell it for?
I think it was like 2.5 Exalts. It's hard to say no to that.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, those are pretty cool. Was there anything else that interested you from the patch notes?
Specifically in the patch notes, no. There was a lot of fixes and stuff, but yeah. What about you?
So I titled this one, okay. Because one of their bug fixes was they fixed a bug where upgrading a Blight oil and the Blight stash tab was possible if the next highest tier of the oil was already at the maximum stack size. So before you were able to upgrade your oils, kind of like in your essence tab, right? You get a certain amount, you can upgrade them to the next tier. But if the tier above was full, it shouldn't let you do it. So they fixed that. But the thing that just blew my mind was that the maximum amount of oils is 5,000.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay. I'm really close to getting 50.
I'm curious how they find that. Like, I guess there's probably people out there that have that much, but why?
Well, if somebody reports it with those numbers, like, hey, just FYI, I'm losing my oils. And they're like, wow, someone's there. Okay, we're taking this one seriously, even though it's only one report.
You would have had to have 5,000 of at minimum the second tier, right? Yeah. Because for you to have found that out, you'd have to at least have 5. I don't know. That's crazy. Anyway, they also came out with the Void Portal. Did you see it?
No, what is it? Oh, the port.
Goodness.
MTX.
Yeah.
MTX. Yeah.
Did you see it?
Yeah,
I love it. I got it.
Did you?
Yeah.
Nice.
And I'm using it as my actual one right now because it fits into my current hideout layout. It looks awesome.
Hideout layout.
Stolen thing. I don't know what you call them. It's using the Glacier one. And then they came out with the art of GGG, which was really cool because they show a bunch of artwork from their artists, but they're not actually all Path of Exile related art. So it gives you a chance to just see like some of the artwork of these crazy artists. It's nuts. Did you see it?
No, I didn't get a chance to. I was hoping to before the podcast.
You should check it out. There's one I love that has a dragon, and it made me think of when Chris wanted a league with dragons.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, no, it's really good. It shows a bunch of their stuff. And then obviously Camille's on there with his, the thing that they show is the Path of Exile 2 trailer music, but he also on his YouTube just released the actual full song for the, what's it called? Angels and Demons, the new MTX boxes.
Yeah.
He released the soundtrack for it on his YouTube.
Awesome.
So good.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was basically everything this week, I think. Like I said, it wasn't a crazy week for changes or anything coming up that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm just going to bring up something that made me very unhappy this week.
Hey, Justin.
Yeah.
Anything make you really unhappy this week?
Besides playing with you on Monday, the league ending. Now, I don't know. See, you just threw it up for me. The last league we played, last league we played 3.10. We played a private league, and it was around the same time that they were doing that whole changeover where your stash tab layout was staying the same from standard to whatever. And so, I think I had organized mine in standard just to make sure it was done. I played the private league without creating anybody in the normal league of Delirium. Our private league ends, and it was perfect. I migrated all, moved into Delirium, stash tabs were all there, everything was fine, no problem. This league, and I'm wondering if it's because they released new stash tabs during the league, which I bought, but all of a sudden every one of my stupid tabs became remove only, and it totally it just made me think this is why I don't play standard. Like I didn't even do all my maps. I'm like, I'll do yellow, like literally tier 9 and above. I pulled all those out, but I'm like, I'm not pulling out 80 maps for each of the, like lower tiers just to move them over. And same with all like my dump tabs and just random tabs that I hate having to remove stuff to put into tabs. I don't understand why how hard is it to maybe, okay, not including just normal tabs and quad tabs, but how hard is it to take 2 currency tabs and just put them together? Like why do I need to, I just find it stupid. And we were talking
for some tabs, for
every single tab except normal tabs and quad tabs. There's nothing that doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
for
sorry.
Right?
Yeah, that skipped me. Yeah, the premium tabs here.
Yeah, I can understand it from the other ones, sure, but I'm just talking about the ones that are very, very specialized or specific as to what can go into them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get why they can't just squish them together. I didn't have anybody created in the regular Harvest League. I hadn't even logged into the regular Harvest League yet. Oh, you know what though? No, but this happened to other people. I did actually log into Harvest by accident when I created the first character in the Harvest League. Maybe that screwed me up. But it's funny because other people said the same thing in Discord, that they were all having to go through the whole remove only nonsense of pulling stuff out.
I only made the one character. Because I'm pretty good at selecting my starting class correctly. I also picked my starting league correctly, and I only had one. Oh, look at me! Right. I had I had one remove only tab, and it was just the stash from like the pseudo stash tab from all my seeds. They just threw that in a remove only tab, but everything else was fine.
Okay, so maybe
it might be a glitch, but either way, whether it's a glitch, no matter what the design is, you're paying for it. You're paying for a private league. It shouldn't be an inconvenience.
No. My text to you after that was like, I don't want to do a private league again if I have to do this every time. It's not fun. And especially because why would you not combine them? If I'm choosing to migrate all, guess what? I want all my currency in my currency tab. Like why would I choose not to put some of it in there? It doesn't. No,
I'm not arguing with you. I was going to come up with a Madden example.
Oh God.
But then I decided not to.
Yeah,
so then I went, well, and I'm like, I agree with you.
It's just annoying. I want to the whole thing about the private that's nice is that when you're done the private league, you're going to go right into the trade league. So you can just continue on. I had to spend half my day organizing stupid stash tabs, which I would rather not do. And also, I know that it's just me needing to remember, but it would be nice to get maybe it didn't, I just didn't see it, but a warning to go get your watchstones from Xana. I think it might have actually shown on the right-hand side, but it takes all your watchstones out and gives them to Xana, which also on that one, I don't totally understand unless maybe, I guess, what could you have different? What could you have?
Well, you might be playing in a private league sometimes, and you might just have a normal harvest character too. And so if you've had different progress, different goals,
yeah, I guess
that it could screw that up. I can see the watchstone thing.
I mean, maybe it's just easier for them to just straight up delete it, move the things in, and that's it. But yeah, I'll check my 4 watchstones and see if they. I'm sure there was
if they went in
waiting for you.
You know what I was thinking about while you were talking about all that stuff that no one was listening to?
Mm-hmm.
My epic intro.
I'm not playing it again.
Dang it. All right, fine. Well, speaking of tabs, because I actually was listening, unlike you, and I speak. Joey from our Discord came up with a rad idea. I know people this league have been complaining about how because they added 2 or 3 new specialty tabs, right? I think it's fantastic. But anyway, Joey came up with an awesome idea. He said that they should come up with a stash tab that's for Chaos and Regal recipes. How cool would that be? You just instead of vendoring it, you just what do you do on PC? Control click, and that just shoves something into whatever thing it is. Yeah, so. Could just control click and it puts it into the proper tier based on what item level it is. And maybe it'll only do 1 or 2 chaos sets, 1 or 2 regal sets, 1 or 2 elder sets. Oh my goodness. Wouldn't an elder one be awesome? Because there's all 6 and they have to be of the same base. Well, not same base type, but the same influence.
So the idea is they just sit there until you take them out to sell them?
Yeah.
Oh.
But it's an auto organizing thing. So you don't have to use one of your other tabs for it.
Yeah.
I get it.
I know that you like it. I saw the conversation about the whole chaos / regal thing, and it made me laugh because I was like, this is just up Tyler's alley.
It was perfect. It was actually, I wanted to reply to every single individual.
You didn't?
But
How dare you?
How dare you? Take a deep breath and restrict myself.
Speaking of the whole
that's all I wanted to.
stash tab things recently, those triple ones, Reddit was reasonable this week. There wasn't a ton of, that I saw at least, there wasn't a ton of complaining.
Good.
There was a really funny conversation that I heard about and watched and listened to, but it's not really for the Path of Exile podcast that we're doing. I don't want to cause any trouble, so I might bring it up in After Dark, but
where it's impossible to get in trouble.
You can't get in trouble for that. I was actually impressed with Reddit this week. It was not disappointing to read it, which was nice. So I don't think that's really necessarily a change or anything. I just think it's maybe just it was a slow week because I don't think anything's really changed. I'm not sure that they've done anything yet on the whole moderating side of it, but
maybe. But the point gets across. The seed gets planted, right?
But maybe just them making that post was enough for it. Okay, I had this talk with you while we were playing on Monday. I know you've brought it up a lot, but this is not in the same regard as what you're talking about. This is in a real regard of actual effect.
You're agreeing with me.
No.
Yes, you are.
Okay. I've always had a problem because we did bring this up. It's post-death damage. Post-death. Oh, that sounded weird. Did I say it right the first time?
Probably.
Damage. It sounded like I was like post-death damage. Post-death damage.
This is just a victory for T-Bone, just big old V for me.
My disagreement with you though is you don't like the corpse explosion, which I do agree with. Corpse explosion, I'm not a big fan of it. Right?
Yeah. Oh, I hate it, but only because you can't see it. It doesn't what are the purple monsters called again? The purple.
The Nemesis ones, the ones that are affected.
Yeah, the Nemesis. When some of them, they'll have that lightning or fire, whatever it is. They're big in your face, like watch out circles on the ground. Corpses? No.
Yeah.
No, like there's so many sometimes that I'm just like, I have no idea what's happening. I can't see that it's going to explode and then bang, I'm dead.
I'm so tired of porcupines. I've always hated porcupines because the difference is when I can see them, like the ones you're talking about that put a huge thing on the ground, I move out of the way. I don't stand in it. Porcupines can kill me from off the screen. Like if I shoot ball lightning and it goes flying off the screen and all of a sudden there's like a billion friggin' quills firing, I don't know where to stand. There's no like safe spot.
And you didn't even know there were porcupines there.
No. And then I'm dead. I hate post-death damage. I just don't like it. I actually would like all of it to be gone. I want them to just make enemies harder and just piss off with everything. I don't want to see the big balls on the ground afterwards. Here's the thing. If it's dead, it's dead. That's it. It's dead. It doesn't do extra stuff. That's dumb. It's dead. I don't get to do extra stuff when I'm dead. They used to. Back in the day, you could like build a build around killing things by dying. It was hilarious. It had to do with golems and minions and stuff. But you know what they did? They nerfed all of that after death damage. So you can't do it anymore. So do it to the stupid NPCs. I hate dying after something dies. It just pisses me off. Especially in my race to get 94.
I remember the league where they said you no longer earn XP after you die. That was a big one. You used to earn XP, so you could just die and your golems would kill everything. Right? You'd have all this stuff linked to cast on death, and so you would die. Everything would just get annihilated.
There were builds built around dying on boss fights just so that you could safely go grab a drink, come back, and the enemy was dead. I don't like after death stuff. I don't want something to kill me after it's dead. And even worse if it's coming off the friggin' screen. And the thing is too, like, even with the ones you're talking about where they leave something on the ground, when you do some of the inside maps, they are like literally terrifying because you could be in like a tiny little hallway and happen to get 2 packs in a row that did it. And you're like, well, not sure
and
where
the
to
doors
go.
Don't open automatically. You know what I mean? And then you can't even see, especially even if those big warning things are up, you can't see if you're on a ledge, if there's a small stairwell there's a little rail that you can't get past. Like it's just,
well, and the reason it came up, I think one of the reasons it came up too was we were doing harvest and you were dying in my harvest because of and I don't know what this is in harvest when you kill mobs, and this happens all the way down from tier 1 up. Sorry, all the way.
Oh, the blue guys.
So purple and yellow both leave something on the ground that seems to do some sort of degen. And it's not fast, but it does do a degen, but it disappears very, very quickly from the ground. That's purple and yellow. Blue is like, I don't know how GGG didn't go like, this doesn't seem right, because blue, when you kill them, some of them can leave these blue bulbs on the ground and they just sit there for a very long time. They're like, that I'm here. And if you start to move towards them as they start to dissipate, they actually blow up still. Like you have to wait till they're fully gone. Now, when you're playing ball lightning, which is a blue skill, and your whole screen is blue, I don't have a damn clue what is on the ground that's going to massacre me and what is my own damage going out. And so I have to like queue them all up, lay all my mines, run away, and then avoid coming back to that area because I don't know where things died specifically. And then once I get close, I have to wait a really, really long time to get them to go away. I just think it's dumb. I don't like after death stuff.
Do you even know what they look like? At least?
Who?
Bulbs.
You see them, sure.
I can't see them. How many times you're like, okay, watch out for that. And I'm like, okay, I'm moving super close. I'm like, or I'm being super careful and I'm looking, I'm creeping along. And then all of a sudden, restart at checkpoint. It looked like everything else. I didn't know.
You can see it once you've done it a few times, but the one thing that I don't understand is why it lasts for like, I would say it's close to triple the time of purple and yellow. They're all in the same harvest. They're all after death damage, but for some reason, GGG thought with blue to be like, nah, we're going to leave this up here extra. I don't like that stuff. I don't like it.
No, I don't either. I remember one of them explaining why after death stuff exists in the game. If you don't have after death stuff, then the trivial mobs are trivial.
They're already
what
trivial.
I mean? Well, but that's kind of the thing, and so they add the after death stuff just to make the trivial mobs a little bit more to consider. I come from the completely opposite perspective of, if you don't want trivial mobs to be trivial, don't make them trivial.
Yeah, make them harder.
Like, you want to enjoy the game. Every single post death damage I get, I'm not enjoying. Like, when the enemies are dead, my inventory is open. When the enemies are dead, I'm doing something else. Like, I've accomplished what I want, and I'm with you 100%.
I just don't like that it's multiplied by like 1,000. Like a porcupine, I could stand still and not die to. But if I kill it, it can somehow one-shot me. I don't get it. Like, why did its damage multiply?
Because it doesn't come from the enemy. A lot of damage mitigation is based on enemy damage, right? For example, Enfeeble I use all the time with my builds. That's based on enemy damage.
Yeah, which this would
Enfeeble sucks against the Minotaur because those
rocks,
big boulders that fall from the ground, that's not his damage. It's just damage, right? The fireball, it's not enemy damage. The porcupine, it's not enemy damage. So it's really frustrating because, armor will do physical damage reduction no matter whether it's from the enemy, but not everything else does.
Yeah, but I don't like planning a build around after death damage. That to me is just dumb. I don't know. I like the fact that with some stuff you can see it so I can at least avoid it, but I would rather see all after death stuff piss off and just make enemies harder.
Yeah, me too. One of my favorite things, I've said this 1,000 times, one of my favorite things about Delve is that the enemies are just tanky.
Yeah, I love that about Blight for after death. And when I started to get lower down, I never realized it before. They're the blue ones, and they do this like little wavy thing that comes down to the ground. Man, if you get hit by like 2 of those, even 1 when you're in further depths, that's it. And again, it's blue damage with ball lightning. My hope is just to move as fast as I can because they have a lot of after death damage in Delve as well. It's such a piss off.
I just meant more like, I know there's after death stuff there that we don't like, but more those enemies, Blight enemies, they're tanky.
Yeah.
They're not that trivial, and they're only trivial to somebody that has a well-established damage build. And that's kind of the goal of the entire thing anyway. So, instead of just taking the enemies that you have in maps and thinking, okay, these are okay, let's change how they function. Take what you have that's really successful, like in Blight or Delve, those types of enemies, and then throw that type of content up instead.
Yeah.
Now, I got to give you a big shout out here.
Obviously.
Well, this next note here is
like 2 years old.
Yeah, it's like 2 years old. And but I finally actually have permission to speak of it.
It's an accident. Let me just quickly move that.
Oh, dang it. I'm sure it was. I'm sure you just didn't notice.
I totally didn't notice.
And it doesn't segue into anything. I was looking to see what the next point was that we had decided. And I'm like, oh, shoot. But anyway.
Tell you what I liked about uniques.
You know what, though? In my filters, I only have... I know a lot of other filters like to specify uniques, and this unique is great for this and this one. So they have it looks different on the filter based on how trivial or rare they are.
Okay.
I don't like to do that because I pick up all my uniques no matter what, because I'm likely going to be vendoring them if I don't already have them in my unique tab. So the big value for me in that is no matter their rarity, I'm getting Alch Shards, and I'm never running out of Alchs. I have so many Alchs. It's fantastic. But and the reason I don't want to go and tier my uniques is because you have so many uniques. Every single league get reworked. And I have zero interest in going through that whole list and deciding for myself how valuable that is. That takes so much time to reorganize in a filter. 50 revamped or brand new uniques. It's just like, that doesn't interest me. But there's a part of me that really wants to put the uniques that don't give Alch Shards in like a FU little file there in my filter, because my goodness, uniques that don't give Alch Shards, don't even talk to me.
Are there many?
Are
they just low level uniques or what?
No, a lot of low level uniques give you Alch Shards. I don't know what it is about certain uniques that don't give Alch Shards. I don't know what it is. There's obviously that one that everybody hates. Bring it up. No, I forget what it is, which is foolish, but there's that one unique that everybody avoids and most people just remove from their filter because it doesn't even give you currency. It gives you what, 6 level
my God,
one
that
gems?
scepter. Yeah, it's the worst.
Yeah, what's it called?
I don't remember, but it's a terrible thing to sell. I'll never pick that up.
You know what? I should probably just put that in my filter as get out of here, because that's it's like you go in, you're going to trade it, and you're like, oh man, a whole bunch of level 1 gems, and then you just go to discard it instead. It's not even worth my time.
Where you get like 5 or 6 scroll of wisdom fragments.
Not with that one.
No, with the skills. Though,
we'll trade.
Right?
Yeah, but then it's even more.
I know, it's a whole lot of work. That's terrible. Get rid of it. Anyway.
So while we're on the subject of PvP,
back to your real stuff.
Back to the legit content. You know what I love about PvP and PoE, which is like I hate PvP, and it's likely because I hate hologram masters, and I hate wishing my build could do that map, but it scales different than the game. It doesn't sound enjoyable to me. Well, it's not enjoyable to me.
Oh, hold on though. Just like a sub note to this, you don't like any games with PvP, really? I can't think of almost any games where you like PvP.
Love Dark Souls, man. Give me an invader any day.
Okay.
Any day. Bring it. If I had the emote for come on, Cletus, come on. Or like Scorpion.
You didn't like it in the beginning though. Like
when you but I've grown up. But anyway, the thing I like about PvP and PoE is that as long as PvP gets attention from GGG, I know that the things that I like are staying in the game.
Has it? Have they given any attention to PvP?
Every league, there's a very small patch notes section of PvP changes. And it's normally based on the gems that they've done, right? Like I remember when they changed how temporal chains and enfeeble interact with bosses and rares. They changed that.
Yep.
They had a small note in PvP on how that changes, enfeeble and temporal chains change, the other enemy. But anyway, because it's likely even smaller than the console community, PvP, as long as it still gets attention, I know that the things that I love that aren't very popular are still safe in the game. So that's why I, Tyler, Record of Days, like PvP.
All right. So I think we've talked about this once before, but it kind of ties into your sucky build this league. And I was thinking about it.
Sorry, who are you talking to?
Yeah, this is Tyler.
No,
or whatever you want to call it.
You must be looking at someone else.
Somebody else. One man. So the Chinese realm has the free. We talked about it. I don't remember when it was, but they have a free respec. I think it is by the time you hit 68 or before you hit 69 is when you get one free respec within the game. I really wish they would bring that into our league. It cost me, I want to say like 45 or 50 regrets to swap over to low life, which I don't mind spending, but I was like, although that being said, I'm 94. So I would have been well past that point, but I like the idea of you get to 68, you can put on like 98% of your gear typically. And maybe you did something different for leveling or whatever. I wish they would bring that side of the respec into, I don't like the idea of free respecs at all. I don't want the ability to respec for free, but the idea of one free respec right as you get into maps, I don't see the downside to it, especially if I hit 69, I've used up the free respec. I don't get it. That's fine. I'm totally fine with that. But at 68, having the ability to get one free respec, I kind of like it. I wish it was something that we had.
Yeah. Or something that triggers like before you start, your first tier 2, you get a warning like, hey, moving beyond tier 1 maps.
I know whatever
it is, because you level automatically. And I get whatever the trigger is that would make them
like maybe
say,
you hit 68 and it says it. I don't like it being tied to what tier you're at, because you could just extend that quite a bit further if you wanted. Yeah. But I don't mind the idea of you hit 68 and one of those little pop-ups that show up say, hey, you've got one free respec.
So get out of your map. No, I hear you. I think that one of those things would be awesome. I think one of those things would be really awesome. You know which build that would be glorious for? Righteous Fire.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, that would be so perfect for Righteous Fire.
Yep.
With my Righteous Fire guide, I don't like telling people, say, hey, listen, leveling RF is pretty tricky. So here's your leveling tree. Now I want you to use 60 regrets in solo self-found on your first playthrough of the league to actually run RF. So I, make people, or not make, but I don't give a leveling tree. I just have, this is RF, and I give them their tips. But oh my goodness, it would change everything if they had a free respec right after the campaign.
Yeah, I think it would be nice. I think they should bring that in. Anyway, I was just thinking of it because of your build or lack thereof. Hey.
Oh, all day. Well, I made it to level 70, mister. But actually, I saw, speaking of builds and guides, for those that follow, especially in the necro side, specters have received a lot of attention in the last few leagues. And there's someone named Kay who has had, I think it's just called something like Kay's Specter build, and it's been pretty solid. Anytime somebody's asking about, on Reddit, hey, any Specter builds out there, it's always people saying, hey, do K's, do K's, do K's, and you always do K's before, you do any other build. She's very good with her Specters.
I clicked the link that you provided. I assume that this link has been around since she's started them, because it has like 1,300 pages. Can you imagine if you wanted to get caught up? Where would you start?
Well, yeah, that's one reason you get, like, there's a big marketing benefit from having
the same one,
13 million people having clicked on your build.
Yep.
And that looks really good. And there's certain sites, I even think PoE Ninja shows how many clicks there have been, or whichever other build site, I forget what it is. But anyway, it's kind of for that reason that I make new threads for my guides every league, because I want all the tabs for those. There's not many people that actually read through every person's comments, because not everybody's speaking truth, or they're just inquiring. They're not having, build specific questions, but I like having all comments relevant to that league. So you're not having to scroll through 5 leagues ago, which isn't valuable anymore. But, she did something that really encouraged me. And she wasn't talking to me or anything, but she just this week sent out a message to everybody saying, hey, I've updated my build for Harvest. I thought, like, as a guide writer, if you rewind back to our pre-311 release episode, I'm freaking out. I had like 0 minutes to update 4 guides and get them ready for launch and have people ready. And, you want to do that if you're trying to be helpful. But it was really encouraging to see somebody that has a very successful guide, a big reputation, not care, want to make sure that their guide's legit for Harvest. Sure. They took their guide, played it, then posted it. I love that. That was really encouraging to me. It kind of gave me the, just a little bit of reassurance. Like, I don't really it's nice to have guides ready for people that run crunch week, but it's okay if I take the time. If I, let's say when PoE 2 comes out and I scrap all my guides and I'm starting fresh, might be one way to go about it. Doing 1 or 2 that way instead.
You can just chill, Ty. It's okay.
No, I can't. I can't.
Gotta be first.
So you remember before 311, how tempting the bandit rewards used to be?
Before 311, okay, sure.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you why I'm saying.
Tell me why, because I actually still think that they can be rewarding, but you go ahead.
Well, now there are so many more notables, and they've all been revamped, and you can anoint notables on your gear. I'm surprised when they revamped notables in 311 that they didn't revamp the rewards for the bandit quest. Because the bandit quests are basically the same value or power as a legit notable. You know what I mean? Like, they're not mods, but I'll call them mods because it makes sense. 3 lines, 3 different things, 3 mods that they benefit from. All pretty small in comparison to some pretty substantial notables. They'd be, if they were on the passive tree, they definitely wouldn't have a gold oil in them. You know what I mean? So I'm surprised they didn't, but do you feel like bandit rewards aren't valuable since they've made the changes to notables in 311?
So my argument pro bandits is, and quite often I actually just kill them all, take my 2 points, because 2 points is quite valuable. That being said, if you're playing anything with casting and anything with crit, Alira to me is the one that I will always consider. And in fact, I still have her on my ball lightning character. I get I think it's mana regen, crit, and I love just the 15 resist all. And especially when you're leveling, because you get them in Act 2. I like the fact that I can take Alira and then end game swap and take my 2 points instead, because that plus 15 all resist, that you're not going to find that on literally any item in Act 2.
Yeah.
So it's different once you're playing a character afterwards and you've got gear to help you level up and your end game or whatever. But for me, she is super beneficial for the mana regen and the all res when I'm leveling, especially a spell character, because it just, yeah. So the other two, I almost never take them. Their benefits are not even close to what I could get out of 2 points, especially if I'm playing a build that might revolve around some of the things they offer. I'm definitely going to see more benefit out of the 2 points. And even with Alira endgame, 2 points is definitely worth more than what she's giving. But I do find her benefit really, really nice early on before you're like really ready to go.
This is how I think of it. I think of like, I picture that bandit specific notable on the tree. And I'm like, okay, there's some notables that I go for where even though they're not travel nodes like strength or dex, the nodes leading to that notable are basically travel nodes to me. They're not what I'm excited for. I wouldn't be selecting them if I wasn't going for the notable that's behind them. So I picture the bandits notable per se on the tree. And I'm like, okay, would I waste a travel node to get to that bandits notable? And it's almost always no for me. But you know what it is? I think it's because the predetermined combo of it. On a tree, I can like, hey, well, I don't like that notable, but this one's a lot more tempting. So I'm going to work and get more relevant stuff while I'm working towards this other notable. Whereas with bandits, there's nothing like that. So it's most of the time for me, it's a combo. Very rarely am I doing a build that actually wants all three of those mods that I'm being offered. Wouldn't it be awesome if those bandits actually gave you a choice? So like you could get, so they'd be stronger options, but you could get a stronger version instead of all three of physical damage reduction from Oak, or you could go life regen from Oak and it'd be 2% instead of 1% or whatever it is. You know, like if you could just choose, you know, they gave you a reward for killing him. I think that'd be cool. Yeah, but they'd be stronger and it'd be worth sacrificing 2 passive points.
Yep. Yeah.
We'll see. PoE 2 is coming out with a bandit style quest for that side of the campaign as well, right? Where they give you the option of either 2 points or...
It'd be kind of cool if their reward scaled as you leveled. So at, you know, if I got it at Act 2 and I'm level, whatever level you are around that time, that the reward they're giving me is scaled up as I get to level 70 or 80 or whatever, so that its value is actually maybe a little bit more in comparison to what a notable on the tree is. Because
like it leveled like a gem.
Yeah, or like just something, because it would be nice if you could make them somewhat equal to the 2 points. Because for 99% of people out there, you are going to get more out of those 2 points for sure.
Yeah.
Leveling wise, I really like Alira though, because I just find it super useful to get the 15 all res.
And how much does it cost to respec for those that don't know?
I don't remember. It's cheap. It's really cheap. Yeah. So to change, if you ever want to go back to just like 2 points, which is typically what somebody might want to do, is 20 Orb of Regrets and an Onyx amulet. All of the switches is 20 regrets and a version of an amulet. So it's not that big of a deal end game to have 20.
And a version of an amulet?
Yeah, Jade, Amber. So Amber is to go to Oak. Jade is to go to Creighton. Lapis is to go to Alira, and then an Onyx is to go to, they call it Iramir's Favor, which is basically the 2 points. So
yeah.
I don't know. I like hers for leveling, but other than that, 2 points is always going to be worth more. And I'm not sure if the goal is to ever make it so it's equal. They've never done anything to it since. So I imagine they're fine with the fact that people don't tend to take them later. I don't know. It is a little weird though. Most of the time it's just like, okay, great. I get 2 skill points, which is pretty awesome.
That just, to me, I've always considered them notable. So I was just surprised they didn't get touched with the notable changes they had in the tree. Now they're just way less tempting.
I don't know how this came up with conversation, but we were talking a little bit about the difficulty of mobs, but then relating that to the new difficulty of bosses, which I feel like that was mostly Metamorph. Do you feel like there's been much change since Metamorph?
Remember when we were playing Joffrey?
Yeah. Was that?
He just hit so hard. And the spider boss that you keep insisting on doing in Toxic Sewers when I have 0 chaos resist, even though I have chaos resist. Oh, I freaking hate it.
She has 2 really brutal things. One is the poison bolt. If you get hit by it, you better heal real fast. And the second is the leap. If you don't dodge or block that leap, she does crazy damage.
I got that. But anyway, there's just, I'm loving how the bosses really have been revamped.
Yeah.
They hit hard. They are bosses. I like it.
You didn't like it on Monday night.
Well, no, nobody likes dying over and over, but I'm saying like the bosses are bosses. I'm fine dying to a boss. I still hate off-screen damage.
You didn't sound fine. Well, I never heard you go, you know that? Yeah, I deserve that. That was a good hit by the boss. And you know what? I'm glad that it's been toned up a little bit. So better next time, Tyler. I missed that part.
That's how people die. That's how people die in PoE. No, I just, with that one, I mean, I was frustrated specifically because I just can't see it. I can't, you're pointing these things out to me and I'm like, I don't see it. I don't see it. But I was surprised because I actually had 0% chaos resist and it felt like I had -70. So anyway, but no, I really like how beefed up these bosses are. I remember, because some of the bosses you don't see very often just with how mapping goes, and you get to them, your gear's pretty legit. You're not doing as much damage as you used to remember. And I mean, that memory's probably from 5 leagues ago, but you're attacking away. The damage is like a lot less. And then all of a sudden they hit you and you're like, whoa, better watch out for that one. And you're not used to even caring about the boss. I like it. They've done a good job.
Mm-hmm. As long as it doesn't kill you.
Oh, I love dying. I love staying at 87. That was my favorite part of the league. Now, I want to give a big shout out to Pixels Get Me because he told me something that I didn't know. And I'm sure you know because you know everything. But this was in terms of finding 6 links, right? 5 link is what I like to plan all of my guides around because it's a lot more common to get. But now that they've made Val, yes, but now that they've made Val side areas a part of mapping, the chances of 6 links are a little bit more common. Now, I didn't know this, but apparently you can just put a Val fragment in your atlas and it just loads a Val area. I didn't know that. Now, Pixels said that he got this from a different streamer, but I'm going to pretend that Pixels actually came up with it and decided, and it was awesome. But isn't that cool? Like you could, if you just have a plethora of some of the Val fragments, just go in, just start spamming Val areas, and maybe you'll get a 6 link with the base type that matches the kind of colors you're hoping for. That'd be awesome.
The only thing I did know about it, but the only thing I don't know is I have no idea what the determining factor is for what area level loads.
It's based on the rarity of it. So I think it's top left is the lowest level, and then
top right would be the highest because that's midnight. So like,
right, yeah,
and then that would be like your down. 84. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So, but I don't.
Does it
remember
actually go up to 84 at midnight?
I don't know. It would be silly to have one capped at 80.
84.
Like, who's going to care?
Though.
Who's going to care?
I am curious what it is. I've never done it, but yeah, that is cool that you can do it. I did know it loaded a Val area. I didn't even think about it as a way to try and get some 6 links. I played this whole thing with a 5 link right up until Trade League, and you can 5 link like. It's so good now with Harvest. Harvest is the best league ever. Oh, I triggered so many people.
No, but you know what? It's not a bad league.
It's fine. It's a weird league. It's a fine league.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
No, I don't mind it.
That's what leagues can be. Leagues can be.
It's fun. It's weird. It doesn't make any sense, but it's fun. My comment was more of a joke, but I mean, realistically, top 3 for sure.
Yeah, realistically.
Yeah.
Well, while we're on Blade Vortex.
Man, you're killing it with these topics today.
Hey, man, I didn't organize it today. Though, that's kind of a forgotten. You remember, it used to be Blade Vortex all the time. It was everywhere. Yeah. It was all over the place. I think it needs to be a channeling skill.
Why? Let's make it a movement skill at the same time.
No, because then nobody would ever use Cyclone. But
why? Why make it channeling?
It's a very clunky skill.
Because you have to hold
very
down?
Clunky. Because you have to constantly just move and then stop for a long period of time, move, stop for a long period of time.
How is that any different than if it was a channeling skill? What would be different? Because you could tie in cast while channeling? Like, I don't understand what would be the benefit. You'd still have to stop and cast, right? So what would be the difference if it was, besides the fact that you could put something like cast while channeling and some of the safety things associated with channeling, what's the benefit for the play style?
I guess it would be more just for the variety of what you could do with the skill. It would make it more tempting. I just feel like Blade Vortex has kind of fallen off the map. They touched it a little bit when they changed how weapons and blades work for animate weapon. Is that what it was?
No, it was for the one that was affected by them. I can't remember the skill, but it was where you could like make damage afterwards. There were a few skills that would put crap on the ground.
Yeah,
and then you could, it was a big skill we both liked.
No, but then, I mean, it gets touched like every other skill, but I don't know. It has such huge potential, but I never use it because of how irritating it is to play. Right? Like the only times that I even consider it, and it's going to sound silly, you're going to laugh, but it's Cyclone, cast while channeling, Blade Vortex, because it's always hitting. Yep. Right. And then I get to move with it as well. Of course, there's a legitimate consequence that comes with that because you're already at a 3-link with technically a 1-link item or a 0-link item. But I think that if they made it a channeling skill, it would add a lot more opportunity. I mean, I don't know about the movement part, but maybe.
I like Blade Vortex as it is. I haven't played it in a bit, but I don't know. I feel like you'd just be making it quite a bit stronger if you turned it into a channeling skill. But they did that to Cyclone too, so who knows?
It's a build-up skill, though. Like it's only strong at its max.
But it doesn't take a ton to get it to its max. It doesn't take that long. It's not, and to maintain it, like good lord, with a few different things in your tree and gearing wise, you can make the blades last for quite a while, so that you're not constantly casting it like crazy.
Yeah,
I haven't seen it be super popular in a while, so like I understand where you're coming from. I'm just not sure what the benefit is to it channeling, besides just a straight up buff.
Yeah. All right, maybe you win.
I'm not saying it's bad. To me, it's at the same level as making Cyclone channeling. I don't get why they did it, but they did it. It made it quite a bit stronger.
Smart. I think it was really smart.
I don't know. I feel like what you did is you put it in a whole league of its own. For like multiple leagues, it was the skill to go to. And it's still, even with the nerfs, it's used in tons of builds still. Tons.
I have to admit, because it's a channeling and a movement skill.
Yeah, it's so strong.
I have a hard time not using it in every build.
Yeah. I mean, I like it. I'm not arguing that I like it, but it just seems like it's pretty popular, and that's what you would eventually do to Blade Vortex. Maybe it's not movement, so
Well, maybe add movement to every single channeling skill.
Or just put movement on every single skill.
Ooh. No, I think the reason why it came up, and I should have used this as my segue instead, but the reason, I feel like I stand around much longer with Blade Vortex builds than I do with any other build. Mm-hmm. Like, sure, the damage keeps going around. You kind of like, what is it, Winter Orb type of thing? But I feel like for some reason, because it's 10 stacks, it's a long time. And I don't feel like the duration's much without a significant investment. So
I just, out of curiosity, pulled up the main skills on PoE Ninja right now for this league.
Well, don't tell me Blade Vortex is up there.
Volatile Dead is first at 15% of builds. Then Detonate Dead and Raise Specter. Those are the top 3. Yeah. Then it goes Cyclone, Ball Lightning, Toxic Rain, Essence Drain, Blade Vortex. Blade Vortex is in the top 8.
Blade Vortex is up there. Okay, well, everybody can completely ignore the last 5 minutes of this podcast.
I don't know how they're using it. I assume I don't actually know how it's being used, but...
Oh, Volatile Dead, man, that homing. Oh,
I need to look into it. I know everybody loves it. I just don't know much about it. I don't know enough about it.
It's a multiple button. It's like, it's nothing like ED Contagion, but ED Contagion's like requiring 2 skills. And it's the same thing with Volatile Dead, because you need corpses to spawn your big fireballs that home in on people.
Volatile Dead is VD, right? That's what everybody... I hear VD Spellslinger and VD blood. It always sounds like an STD. Like, I don't understand. Like, I always am like, what are they talking about? But anyway, that's Volatile Dead.
There's cream for that over the counter. For your VD.
For my VD. Take care of my VD,
go to the prescription. But no, like, I'd love to do that. That'd be Cyclone, of course, Cast while channeling, Desecrate, and Volatile Dead.
Sounds like a lot of buttons.
That's the only way it's one button because it's cast while channeling, but then I get no damage.
You don't need damage, Ty.
I don't want multiple buttons, so get out. But anyway, that's it. That's all I had.
I'm going to actually jump into a real quick topic here, just so I can help you out. Your weirdo subjects. I know you love Blight, favorite league ever, and you love how it's incorporated into the core part of the game. We played a number of our maps on Monday, had Blight a couple times, and it still is such a dumb design. I just don't like it. I know you're nicer about everything, but they got to do something with how it paths, or I don't know. I don't really know. Or maybe show me everything right off the bat. I don't like seeing Blight hop out and go multiple directions, and then maybe I only see one or two of them, and then I got to wait till I've done towers, and then I'll find the next one, and then I want it to be fixed. I'm done with Blight being the way that it is. I really, really like Blight this league. Blight has been one of my favorite things to run into in a map because Ball Lightning just massacres it. Plus, I've started using literally just the stun towers. That's it, to slow down. And it's been super, super easy. But I just can't stand the way that it paths out. It's so dumb. It's like Abyss. Abyss, oh my God. Like when it runs me around the map, I just want to be like, no, but I can't stop. At that point, I've already followed it halfway across the map.
Yeah, but it screws over how you like to map. No, but they've I remember patches where they've edited the coding for how Abyss paths, and I would love for them.
They did.
Sure. Well, no, they have. It doesn't go too far anymore.
It can. I've had one go around.
It's definitely nowhere near as much as it used to be. Going for those epic long marathon runs. For Blight, I would love for them to touch up. I love for them to touch up how it paths, because I mean, there's circumstances where I just don't get how okay, so here I am in one of these prison maps, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm in a relatively big room. It's kind of like a square, not big room, I guess, but it's definitely not really small. And the Blight starts in there. I had two separate paths curve, and their portals were literally right next to my Palsy thing. Mm. And I have people coming from the outside, and it just drove me nuts. Like, people were hitting it. They were attacking it the second they came out of the portal. I don't know. How are you ever going to have a Glacier Hammer build and do Blight? You have to. I think one of the biggest fixes for it is it has one path for a certain amount of units. However they code their units, it has just one path away from the Palsy thing, and then it can split as much as it wants. But it give every build an opportunity to at least funnel it.
Right, and that is one of the problems if they do that, is everything funnels to one direction, which might make it a little bit too easy. But if you're not going to, then just always make sure that everything shows up at once. I know that doesn't fit into the whole Cassia screaming out like, the Blight is trying to spread, or whatever she yells out. It takes away from that, but I don't like finding, if I see like 6 or more little circle icons at the bottom, I'm like, oh, I don't think I'm going to like this, because they're not all going in one direction, and there's a good chance that it's going to break off into like 3 or 4. So
yeah,
but otherwise I really have liked Blight. I haven't done a single blighted map this league. I have a lot of them, but I know that if I go in there, I'm going to get angry.
So I did a blighted map.
How'd it go?
Not very well.
No,
I didn't. I don't even think I reached a minute. So I guess did a blighted map isn't really the term I should use.
A blighted map.
Yeah, I did. I also got kicked out quite quickly.
Sweet.
Yeah. But you know what is really nice though? It might be Act 2, maybe it's Act 3. Those torches that are dark, but then when you walk near them within proximity, they light up on their own.
With the Val Temple, I think.
Yeah, that is Act 2. Yeah. Oh, wouldn't those be awesome in your hideout? Huh?
I mean, having anything lighting effect like that would be cool.
Oh, just automatically within proximity, and then they go out when you move away, or they only turn on. I don't know. Anyway,
do I know what the best hideout change they made? The auto purchase. When you import now a hideout.
Oh yeah,
it is glorious. I don't have to do any work. I just look online. I'm like, oh, that looks cool. Import. It goes, hey, you got to spend 1 million favor. Do you want to do that? Okay. And it's all there. I don't have to do anything else.
That's cool.
Yeah. Hideouts are way better because of that. I don't have to spend nearly as much time. Also, just so I can throw Alva under the bus, because I haven't done it in a while. She is so much more enjoyable when you just don't give a crap about her. She shows up on my map. I'm like, oh yeah, sure. I want currency. I don't have to care about anything else.
Yeah.
They need to fix that.
Do you even care about opening the passages and getting to the boss?
Oh, well, when I'm creating the temple, maybe if it's like, yeah, I'll try just because I can clear it all. But when I enter the temple now, that's the other part, because before, not only did I have to care while I created the stupid temple, but then I had to go into every single one of those stupid rooms. Now I just go to the rooms I want, reset her, and start again. She's the worst. She's the worst master in the game. She is terrible. I feel so bad for somebody who has to level her up. Yeah, she's the worst. Such a
Do you know who my favorite is? Kirik.
Oh, God.
He's not a master.
He sounds so cool, though.
Yeah.
Get rid of
Zen's dad.
Kill her off.
Yeah. Just to get rid of him.
What's your newbie tip?
So this is for those that are super new. If you are really interested in Path of Exile, but the gear aspect really seems to overwhelm you, here's a tip on how to start. Do a minion build that's only life-based. Energy shield builds, you need 2 good mods to roll on an item for a good energy shield item. But life rolls are only 1 mod, so it'll be a lot easier for you to gear as you start learning the game. And minions get all their damage from the tree and from their gems. You get some bonus damage later on from items, but you don't have to worry about that. So if you're really new to the game and items really intimidate you, but you really want to give it a shot, look for a life minion build, and you'll be able to flow right through and do some content pretty easily.
I'm actually switching my newbie tip up right now. My newbie tip originally was screw private leagues, don't play them because stash tabs are dumb. But I'm actually going to adjust it real quick and kind of tie into yours, and it's specific to Harvest. So if you're listening to this later and Harvest didn't go core, this is not going to be as beneficial. But one thing that's actually really nice with Harvest is, let's say you're doing a build like Minion build or anything really that's on the northeast side of the tree or north side of the tree, you can play a life build and very, very easily now switch to CI, which you couldn't before because you really had to like replan your gear. But it is so nice now because you can use remove a life, add defense, and you literally can take all of your life gear and just strip off the life and add defense. And defense typically rolls ES on most armor, which means you have a good chance of just keeping all your other stuff, all your resists and whatnot. It's a little better, obviously, if it's an ES base, but to be able to just pull off the life, add on energy shield, and you can go straight into an ES build. It's actually pretty cool that you can do that with Harvest. You couldn't do that normally, and that would never have worked prior to Harvest. But the Harvest crafts, even though Tyler doesn't like them, they're amazing.
I like the crafts. I don't like everything leading to the crafts.
It all is tied into one. You will like it all, or you will like none. It's all part of the greatest league ever.
It's a great league. It's just not for me.
I don't know what to do with it.
Whatever, man.
Anyway, I think that pretty much wraps up episode 36 of Forever Exiled. I am Justin, aka Tagz.
And I'm Tyler, Wrecker of Days.
Yep, and you will not hear that other play song, but it was awesome, Foog. Thank you very much. We've got more information down below. Show notes are down there. Links are down there. Link to our Discord's down there. Links to our Patreon is down there. We're on foreverexiled.com on the interwebs. Forever Exiled 82 on Twitter. Thanks for everybody joining us. And for our Patreon, we will catch you in After Dark with a special guest. And for everybody else, episode 37. Thanks a lot for joining us.
Oh, I forgot. 36. That was my ball number, and I'm wearing my BJ shirt. Oh, man. I totally forgot to give it a thing at the beginning.
Thanks, guys.
Whatever.